A very good morning once again. We will now begin with the first session for today. Our subject being exploration and subsurface. We have as our session chairman Dr. C. Lakshma Reddy, ADG Exploration, Director General of Hydrocarbons. Mr. C. Lakshma Reddy is an upstream oil and gas professional with more than 3 decades of diverse experience covering the entire gamut of E&P industry. Dr. Reddy has completed his MSc and PhD in Applied Geology from IIT Bombay, one of the most prestigious institutions of India. Requesting him to please join us on the dais. Also joining him on the panel, we have Mr. M. Suresh Kumar, Head Surface, Crane Oil and Gas, Vedanta. Please join us on stage. And Mr. Deepak Vaidya, Business Head, Outokumpu, India. Over to Mr. Reddy.
Distinguished personalities on the dais and the respected delegates among the audience, and this technical session which I'll be chairing, and I'm very thankful to Chemtech Foundation for giving me this opportunity. I'm here to represent Directorate General of Hydrocarbons, and as the topic, the theme of the conference, which is revitalizing of mature fields using innovative technology, because the major production is coming from the mature fields in India, and for that matter even the worldwide also, because as of now we have been hunting for more oil and gas, perseverance pace in exploration. Basically you get the results through that. I'm here, I will just give a, apart from chairing the session, I will be delivering a lecture on the prospectivity and investment opportunities in E&P sector of Indian oil and gas industry. Even though it is slightly deviating from the main theme of the conference, that is revitalization of mature fields using innovative technology. Probably, while we revitalize the mature fields with better reservoir management, we can also side by side look for the exploration opportunities, because there are a lot of unappraised areas in the sedimentary basins. We have vast tracts of sedimentary basins which are not explored fully, and which we will be doing. And I will just briefly explain about the prospectivity of the various sedimentary basins and various investment opportunities which are there in E&P sector. Of late, the government of India has brought in a lot of out-of-box thinking, and in the process of bringing a ease of doing business, lot of revolutionary methodologies have been brought in the process of allotting the exploration acreages. My presentation will go into, I'll follow as it is, the overview of the sedimentary basins and India energy story, and then geoscientific data initiatives and enabling access to the quality data, and various policy initiatives which have been taken by the government of India, creating an attractive investment atmosphere in the country, both for the domestic and as well as the overseas investors to invest. Well, let it be whether it is exploration companies or the investment bankers. Investment bankers through venture capitals can always fund the E&P projects to derive a better returns. And which are, I will give you the latest round of OLP bid round, the blocks which are there on the auction also. I'll just briefly mention about the overview of the sedimentary basins. India has 26 sedimentary basins covering an area of 6 million square kilometers of area. These sedimentary basins have been categorized into 3 categories, Category 1 and Category 2 and Category 3. Category 1 are the basins with reserves being produced and exploited, that is the producing basins. And Category 2 basins are those where we have the contingent resources which yet to be developed and monetized. And the Category 3 basins where you have hypothetically established and based on the geological analogy, we have established that the prospective resources which need to be explored and discovered. We have 7 basins in the Category 1 type and 5 basins in Category 2 and 14 basins in Category 3. From the Category 2 basin like Kutch and Saurashtra, these are likely to be upgraded to Category 1 basin once we start the production from the Kutch discovery which we have made offshore coast Kutch and Saurashtra by one of the national oil companies, ONGC. And similarly, the Bengal basin also, we have discovered the oil in the Ashok Nagar area in the Bengal basin. For centuries, for decades together, the oil exploration was going on in Bengal basin. But of late, after perseverance with the exploration activities, we have discovered the oil in the Bengal basin, and which will be put into production through a path-breaking policy regime, that the early monetization policy, which we are working out from the DGH on behalf of the Government of India, how to bring this discovery into the production line. Basically, I don't know how many of geologists are here or geoscientists are here, but I will just, run through the sedimentary basins so that other investors also will be aware with the basic understanding of the sedimentary basins. In India, we have 3 types of sedimentary basins. That is the basins which are formed by rifting, and the basins which are formed because of the sagging, and the basins which are formed because of the collision. Collision means the plate tectonic theory in geology states that the Indian plate, when it is moved towards northward, when it is collided with the Eurasian plate, certain basins were formed because of the stress regimes and then collision regimes. These basins were formed like Assam, Arakan Fold Belt, Andaman, Kareva, Spiti, Janskar, Himalayan Foreland, Ganga, Punjab and Rajasthan basins. Rajasthan, we have discovered the major oil and gas fields, whereas the Assam Arakan Fold Belt, for centuries together, the oil is being produced, gas fields are there in that region. And similarly, in the rift basins are also most prolific hydrocarbons. When compared with the rift sag basin, which are Vindhyan, Deccan Syncline, Bhima, Kaladgi. Of late, we have discovered a gas deposit in the Vindhyan also, which will be, subsequently we will be putting into production. Conventional hydrocarbons, as per the geological area, the most of the hydrocarbons are found in the tertiary formations, and we also have a hydrocarbon in place in Mesozoic sediments. World over, the major production comes from the Mesozoic sediments only, but in India, it is dominated by the tertiary formations, hold the maximum hydrocarbon potential. Total estimated conventional hydrocarbons is the tune of 41.872 million metric tons of billion metric tons of oil equivalent, and in which 177 place means the geological play which were mapped, and from there these estimates were made. 87 in tertiary and 53 in Mesozoic era and 37 in pre-Mesozoic era. There are 29,792 million metric tons of oil equivalent undiscovered hydrocarbons which are lying across 26 basins. The total area of the basin in category 1 is given here, category 2 and category 3. Category 3 is the maximum area. That means we have a lot of potential further to explore both in the category 2 and category 3 basins. Total hydrocarbon in place so far which has been established, the major part is in the category 1, and whereas the lower amount is there in the category 2 and category 3 basins. Undiscovered hydrocarbons in the category basin, you have 67% is the undiscovered still, and whereas the discovered one is only 11,847 million metric tons of oil equivalent. whereas in the category 2 basin, we have 94% yet to be discovered, and in category 3, almost 100% is yet to be discovered. The reserves in place, the 41.9 billion tons of oil equivalent, which has been, this figure has arrived in the recent reassessment of the sedimentary basins, which has come to 1.9 billion tons of oil equivalent, out of which discovered is 12.1 and developed is 10.9 and recoverable is 4.2, produced 2.4, and reserves are only 1.9 billion tons of oil equivalent. If you compare in place and then reserves, you see the variation. 40 times is yet to be converted into reserves by intensifying the exploration activities and bringing the in-place volumes into the reserves category. There is a long chain of the process which need to be followed. These are the sedimentary basins, 14 sedimentary basins, and just Krishna Godavari basin is one of the most prospective one and the highest accretion of undiscovered in place. Then the last estimate, way back in 1995, it was done, and then again 2018, 19, it was done, and this was the increase which we got in the in-place reserves. There are 12 geological places, including 2 places of the biogenic origin. Generally, most of the oil and gas deposits are in the thermogenic origin, but in this case, we have 2 places of biogenic origin also. 11 places are proven with at least a discovery per play. No conceptual hydrocarbons assessed are dominantly oil, proven basin with 1,977 MMTOE discovered in place. These are the statistics for the various basins. I'll just run through the basins. And Krishna Godavari basin is a dual rift province with, as I mentioned earlier, it is one of the rift basin, and wherein you have the hydrocarbon accumulation. Here the sediments range from Pliocene, Permian to Pliocene sequence. Basin is characterized by predominantly by clastic sediments associated with intense rift tectonics. Now, there is a lot of potential for all unconventional resources also in this basin, CBM, shale and gas hydrate, including fractured basalts and tight clastic plays with occurrence of HPHT conditions. Reservoirs are clastic sandstones with occurrence of carbonates at places with the source rocks in shales of Permian to Eocene. Prospects lie in synrift entrapments, biogenic and Eocene plays. Mumbai offshore is again maximum discovered in place which is there in the Mumbai offshore basin. This is the basin which is appraised to the extent of 87%. Is a proven basin with producing fields contributing half of total oil production in the country and 2/3 of the total gas produced by so far by various operators in the country. Mumbai High has the largest Mumbai High is one of the largest discovery, and it has 10 geological plays, including 8 plays proven with at least a discovery per play. 3 plays are in this basin, 3 plays are the biogenic. Hydrocarbons assessed are dominantly oil. These hydrocarbon resources were established after the input of 48,000 line kilometer of 2D seismic and 30,000 square kilometers of 3D and 900 exploratory wells. The shallow water has 96% of area, while deep water has 75%. Basically, Mumbai offshore is largely carbonate deposits with occurrence of clastic in deeper place, including Tapti Daman self area. And it has reported significant gas discoveries in the shallowest mud-rich clastic place. Potential thrust in Paleocene and Eocene place, including deeper place in Tapti Daman area, and subtle traps in Tapti Daman area are recently encountered with gas. And the deepest sequence encountered is basal clastic over the Deccan Trap basalt. Discovery in shallower place of the continental shelf is a new phenomena here. Assam shelf is again a petroliferous basin, wherein in the northeast part of the country, where the oil, in fact, the Indian oil industry has started from the Assam itself, from the dealing of the Digboy well, and during the British era. And it's an on-land basin with an area of 56,000 square kilometers, out of which 58% area appraised through seismic and wells. They have the mature source rocks lie under the Naga thrust with potential shallow plays in the area. It has 8 geological plays, all proven without any conceptual play. Clastic reservoirs with occurrence of basement fractures, and these resources have been established with the input of 2,723 line kilometer of seismic 2D seismic data and 10,995 square kilometer of 3D and 275 exploratory wells. Good number of oil fields are located proximal to Naga Thrust and presumably charged from the under thrust source rich sales. And Rajasthan is another basin wherein biggest oil field of the on land is oil is being produced from there. As you know, Kane Energy has discovered the oil and gas in this basin, and then now the Kane Energy has been taken over by Vedanta, and they are producing the oil, and they are using the latest technologies in this field to produce the heavy oil. Even in fact, they are using the heated pipeline to transport the oil which is there in this field to the nearest refineries. Barmer boasts of largest on-land crude production, that is 25% of Indian total. Jaisalmer has producing gas fields. Bikaner Nagar has a highly viscous oils. This is Bagewala field, and this requires technology intervention wherein that heavy oil has to be flowed to the surface and subsequently to the nearby refineries. These Rajasthan resources have been established after input of 2,515 line kilometers of seismic 2D and 6,595 SKM of 3D, and 200 explorator wells so far were drilled. And similarly, Bikaner Nagar Basin also, the seismic, 2D seismic, several thousand kilometers of 2D seismic and 3D seismic, and 36 exploratory wells have been drilled in this area. Similarly, Jaisalmer Basin also, wherein 154 exploratory wells are drilled after doing several thousands line kilometers of 2D seismic and SKM of 3D seismic. Similarly, south of Indian subcontinent, Kaveri Basin is again one of the more prolific basins. The basin is uprised to the extent of 92% with the input data of 1 lakh 2D seismic data, and then 7,500 square SKM of and 610 exploratory wells. A reservoir here is basically sandstone and unconventional fractured basement. Here there is a Madanam field wherein generally we look at the sedimentary deposits, sedimentary rocks to see for the hydrocarbon accumulation. But here is in the fractured basement, the oil got accumulated. And the basically source is in the sedimentary basin, but it got accumulated in the fractured basement. Cretaceous and basement plays are the focus area here. This is Assam-Arakan fold belt, wherein again it is in the northeast region, and the basin has about 80,000 to 825 square kilometers of the area. Cambay Basin is again one of the oldest basin where the hydrocarbon accumulation has been established, and we have been producing with the oldest field being the Cambay and then Ankleshwar fields. Even after 30-40 years, the wells are producing in this basin. And most mature basin with 70% in place discovered. Basin is uprised to the extent of 72%, and here the potential place are the Miocene age. Kutch Saurashtra Basin, here also several wells have been drilled, and 16 geological places with 13 reasonably assessed. And here the major challenging is the sub-basalt imaging. Most of the seismic technologies which are available now, we are not in a position to perfectly image the sedimentary sequences below the basalts. Basically, when you shoot a seismic lines, the energy is absorbed basically by the basalts, and it doesn't get penetrated through the basalt, and then the sedimentary sequences below it, basically Mesozoics are there below the sedimentary. This is the area where which have the highest potential, whereas worldwide the major oil and gas deposits are in Mesozoics. In India, Mesozoics, most of the Mesozoics are covered by these Deccan basalt. The day we find the appropriate seismic technology wherein we can map the sedimentary sequences below these basalt, maybe we bigger elephants or bigger are lying, bigger oil fields, giant oil fields might be lying below the Deccan basalts. The offshore gas discovery in Cretaceous age is contemplated for development, that is offshore Saurashtra and Kutch area. There, after drilling 2,000 meters of basalt flows, the discovery has been made. So that shows, how the perseverance in exploration will play with a reward of, bigger gas, oil and gas deposits. Kutch is also another basin which need to be, here also the challenging is the sub-basalt imaging. The service providers who are there in the audience, maybe think of the innovative technology in the seismic data acquisition, wherein these basins can be brought into production and establish more and more oil and gas deposits. Vindhyan, recently we have discovered gas deposits in Vindhyan. This is the, again, when you compare with the other sedimentary basin, this is less prospective, but wherein there also we have discovered gas deposits. And similarly, Mahanadi, this basin is uprised to the extent of 89%, and good close-grade seismic data is acquired under National Seismic Program, and 7 offshore gas discoveries are now uprised and developed under DSF bid round in this basin. Similarly, Andaman Basin is again, it has its own importance. If you look at the Irrawaddy River Delta and the sediments and the brought in by the Irrawaddy Delta, those delta extends up to the east of Andamans. These are the areas where, intensive exploration can be done, and maybe the reward is quite big in this area because it's surrounded by the petroliferous basins of Southeast Asia. Say it is Irrawaddy River Delta or the Brunei or the Indonesia, most of the oil deposits are found in the Southeast Asia in this region, which is contagious to this basin. Andaman has a high potential if you have the perseverance and to follow the exploration program. Similarly, Kerala Konkan Basin, which is there in the west coast of, southern part of the west coast of India. The Bengal Purnia Basin is again, after, for a lot of time, people were telling the Bengal is floating on oil and gas. There were several theories which are come. Now that has been proved with the discovery of oil in Ashok Nagar in the Bengal Basin, and we are trying to bring that into production so that this Bengal Basin will jump from the category 3 to category 1 straight away once the production starts, India's energy story, is started, and it's a growing large economy with strong fundamentals. And India is now, ranked 63 in ease of doing business 2020. India will drive the future incremental energy, global energy demand. India is presently the third largest consumer of the primary energy and oil after USA and China. Energy consumption is again a direct indexation of how fast the country is growing. As the appetite for the energy grows, the GDP will also increase. That shows the industrial revolution which is taking place. Consumption of the energy increases. We need to meet this demand. We need to explore more. Here are the opportunities which are lying in the Indian sedimentary basin to carry out more and more exploration and find oil and gas deposits which you can monetize. Venture capitalists and the service providers will find the jobs, and the oil and gas industry also can aggressively pursue these exploration activities. And as we are, as Prime Minister is telling, India is aiming to become a 5 trillion economy by 2025. So energy demand will also be, appropriately increasing. We are just trying to become, more natural gas, gas-based economy. At present, 6.2%, and which will be increased to 15% by 2030. Government of India has taken lots of policy changes during the previous years, as DGH has established, with a collaboration with the Norwegian Petroleum Directorate, as Consul General was telling from Norway. We had a collaboration with the Norwegian Petroleum Directorate on the same model where the oil and gas exploration in North Sea was being carried out, how the bidding rounds takes place, how the exploration acreages are awarded. In the similar model, DGH was established, and since then the various policy regimes have taken place. And first it was, first pre-nel blocks were awarded, and then small size and medium size oil fields were auctioned, and then there was in NLP regime, there was a PSC regime which has come in, and several blocks were awarded in various rounds of the NLP rounds, and wherein, it was the cost recovery mechanism was there. It was, earlier regime focused on cost recovery. Cost recovery means then the cost auditing, scrutiny by government led to many disputes and the procedural delays. To overcome that one, we have just migrated to, in 2016, we have migrated to revenue sharing mechanism. This is a transition from production sharing to revenue sharing. Revenue share as one of the bidding parameters. micromanagement of cost recovery is no longer required under this regime. So the lesser disputes, and there is no need for exploration companies to come then and now and take the approvals for the capital amount which you are going to put into the exploration of the block which is awarded to them. So it's up to the companies which will take the risk, and they will reap the reward also. What are the changes in revenue sharing contract? Here it is more weightage to work program. That means to intensify the exploration work. That is the main goal, so that exploration company can put their own risk money into the thing, and at the same time reap the reward from these basins. Revenue sharing no longer a bidding parameter for category 2 and category 3 basins. This is the right opportunity to invest in category 2 and category 3 basins before these basins, for example, say Kutch basin and the Bengal basin gets upgraded to category 1, then the fiscal incentives which are available for category 1 basins, which are available to category 2 and category 3 basins will not be available once these basins go on to production. So there is an opportunity for the investors to put in their money and the bid for the aggressively bid for the exploration acreages and intensify the explorations. Timelines for appraisal period and FDP submission period was merged, and flexibility for multiple revisions in FDP subject to timelines for commencement of production. That means based on the initial exploration, you have submitted some FDP, but after pursuing some more exploration, you have found the new leads wherein you can revise your FDP and again submit to the government and then take the approval and then go ahead with the exploration activity. And flexibility for multiple revisions, and role of management committee redefined with minimum approvals, so that the government control and the bureaucratic control over the approvals process has come down tremendously, so that you can focus more and more on the exploration activities. And obligation to run DILREM tests are removed. My friends in the audience, they know for a long time this dispute was going on, whether the DILREM test has to be conducted or MDT testing in the production testing can be considered as production testing concluded, because that issue was there for a longer time. That has been removed now, and because now no need to carry out the DILREM test also, because you can go with because the deep water rigs are expensive, so you need to spend less time on the production testing, where the MDT testing can be taken as a basis for the submitting the FDP. And liberal freedom to transfer and exit the blocks. Say you have taken the participating interest, you can always transfer to the other, some other industry player who is coming to take your participating interest. And then also you can, if you are not completed, if you are not pointing the block as prospective, you can also exit the block with easily. For ensuring a conducive business environment, the contractual simplifications were made. Approval of management committee not required for FDP, and notification of discovery and the program quantity. And similarly, government has established a alternate dispute resolution mechanism headed by Mr. G.C. Chaturvedi, who was ex-petroleum secretary and a very renowned person in the industry. And of late, even when the ICICI Bank problem was there, he was made ICICI Bank chairman. And he is such a respectable person in the world. He will be heading that dispute resolution mechanism. Any investor who has the problem by investing the exploration blocks, they can go to the dispute resolution mechanism, and then they can get their disputes resolved in 3 months' time. And again, we have established a single window clearance, and it cuts sharply the time taken in obtaining the clearances. And recently, the Environment Ministry has issued, Government of India has issued, and it exempted all oil and gas firms seeking an environmental clearance, especially for the exploration wells which are being drilled and exploratory work. So here you save a lot of time with regard to carrying out, intensifying the exploration activity. Once the block goes into the development stage, that time you can seek. But to establish the hydrocarbon potential and to carry out the exploration work, there will not be any hindrance with regard to environmental clearance. Most of the projects have suffered because of the environmental clearance in the past. To make the ease of doing business, as a part of ease of doing business, this circular was, this office order was given, and then under this you don't need environmental clearance. Similarly, in DGH, all the contract system as made into a transparent way hassle-free and transparent contract mechanism which has been established. Everything is, you can submit the bids online, you can submit the FDP online, and this portal, like, it flows into the different levels of the government, wherein, there's a close monitoring which is going on. So basically within the time frame, you will get all the clearances. You need not to run around anybody to get your things done and cleared. This is a totally transparent mechanism which has been brought in by the government of India. And geoscientific data initiatives, so far, billions of dollars worth of data has been acquired across the sedimentary basin. All this data has been put into national data repository, so that any prospective investors can access the data, identify his own area, carve out his own block, and then go for work program bidding, and then you can start intensifying your work. Here the flexibility is, earlier government was carving out the block and offering, wherein, you do not know what is the potential. It is now up to you, what block, what area you want to take, what is the acreage which is available at present, apart from what has been awarded to the other people. It is clearly indicated in the NDR's data system. You can carve out your own block, and you can give your own work program to the government of India, and then you can go ahead and intensify the exploration work. If you find a bigger oil and gas deposit, and sure, many of the unappraised areas with acquisition of the seismic data under National Seismic Program, and this database is enriched. Basically, billions of dollars worth of data which is available, your risk will come down tremendously if you access this data and decide, and then prudently you do the exploration, prudently you decide about your exploration program. I am sure you will bound to reap the benefits in many folds. Say, for example, Kane Energy, when it was, started exploration here, your share used to quote at cents in London Stock Exchange. But subsequently, after the discovery of the major deposit in Rajasthan Basin, their share have been shot into, hundreds of dollars, and which has, they really, from nowhere to they became the billionaires, because the risk was also there, but the reward was also very high. This is where, I invite all the investors, investment bankers, technical service providers. You can also talk to the other companies elsewhere in the world, both small size, medium size. You can entice them to come to India and aggressively explore, taking the exploration acreage. And I don't think any other place we have such a transparent mechanism and such a proactive policies which have been brought in by the government in the recent past. So please use this opportunity, intensify exploration, reap the rewards. The hydrocarbon resource, reassessment was done in 2017. Last was done in 1995, where the resources have increased to 49.1 billion tons of oil equivalent. And the National Data Repository has 2.325 million line kilometer of 2D data and 3.788 million square kilometer of 3D data, which is populated. Under National Seismic Program, 43,952 line kilometer of data is loaded into the NDR program. And still the interpretation part of these National Seismic Program is coming. And once the prospects are identified, this also will be populated into the NDR system. Please use this opportunity and bid aggressively for the exploration acreages. Go ahead and do the exploration in the unappraised areas of the sedimentary basin, where you have a lot of chance to reap the rewards. And a lot of, we always say, sometimes we see the quizzes. Elephants are hiding in this map. Can you please find out? Sometimes you don't see. Similarly, the giant oil fields are lying in deeper waters and unappraised areas. It is only your perseverance and of the exploration and intensifying the exploration will find out these oil and gas deposits. I am an optimistic person. It's not that easy oil is over, easy oil is over. Everybody tells. No, it is not over. Until you find, it is difficult. Once you find, it is easy. Now, how the people are discovering the worldwide, Mozambique gas discovery, it is a big discovery. And recently, ExxonMobil has discovered a big oil deposit in the offshore Guyana. How they have discovered? If the easy oil is over, how they have discovered that giant oil field? The Guyana discovery, which has been made by the ExxonMobil, is almost equivalent to the complete reserves of the Indian offshore and onshore area. So the big deposits are still there. Only thing is how you will find out. So easy oil is not over. Easy oil still there. Only thing is until you discover, it is difficult. Once you discover, it is easy. So please, go ahead and then bid for the exploration acreages and then do the exploration activities. Then there are several areas in Andaman area where the no-go area was there, both by the Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Space. The progress has been made, and most of the area which was there under no-go, it has been released. And east of Andaman, there is a prospective area wherein you can go for the exploration. Government taking all measures to expedite the PEL grant. We are personally talking to the several state government wherein, unduly held the giving the exploration licenses. We are talking directly to the principal secretaries of the mines and geology. In fact, on behalf of the industry, we are talking to the state governments to expedite this mechanism, both in terms of the forest, wildlife clearances, as well as the PEL and PML grant. So half of your job is being done by the government itself. This is the hydrocarbon resource reassessment study which has carried out, how the assessment of the sedimentary basins were made and how the resources were enhanced from 28,000 to 42,000 billion tons of oil equivalent. This is the comparison how the assessment was made during 1995 and 2017 basin. 1995 when this assessment was done, there was a limited data, and subsequently several rounds of NELP data was acquired. The same data was integrated into the existing data, and the reassessment was made, and the resources have been augmented in 2017 study. So there is a lot of oil and gas which yet to be converted into reserves and yet to be produced. The opportunities exist. This is the National Data Repository and Seismic Program, how it is been carried, ease of access, integrated with the GIS browser, virtual data room, seamless data exchange. There is a window, you can log into the NDR and pay a nominal fees and access the data and look into the data and take your own decisions. So far, 251 companies have come in and used, and 760 users have been logged into the NDR data and looked at the data. And this is all is been and done NDR, why it has been done is to enable the access to quality data, which, even a small investor can come in and look at the existing data and go ahead and carry out, with joining with a venture capitalist or joining with some other small and medium-sized oil and gas fields, maybe major oil and gas fields, take a certain percentage of participating interest and enter into the oil exploration business. Various policy initiatives have been taken to create attractive investment opportunities by the Government of India. Discovered small field policy is one of the things. The small fields which were lying for a longer period without monetizing because of the various reasons, these have been put to the bidding, and then wherein several small companies which are unknown entities in the oil and gas business have come in and bidded for these oil fields, and they have already started exploring, and some of the people started producing from these fields with a little bit of technology input and a little bit of the capital putting. You can reap the benefits in these discovered small fields. Here, because risk is minimized, whereas in exploration acreage also, if you put the money, maybe the bigger reward is there. Here is your gain is, you can see. That is the thing. How much technology you are infusing, how much capital you are putting, accordingly you can reap the rewards here. And HELP is the policy which has been brought in, and under which OALP regime has been brought in. OALP is open acreage licensing policy. Like I was explaining earlier, you can carve out your own block and then go for the exploration, decide about your exploration program, and then there are incentives which are available in category 2 and category 3 basins, and literally it's a zero money which you have to share in the with the government. You can go and aggressively invest in these basins before these basins gets upgraded to category 1, and wherein you lose the incentives which are given to the category 2 and category 3 basins. The basically full marketing and pricing freedom for the hydrocarbon discovered, and single license for both conventional and unconventional hydrocarbons. Earlier it was not the situation. In the same way, you can go for the unconventional zones to be identified and produced, and it's under a revenue sharing model and a low regulatory burden and transparent bidding process, which is there online process, and continuous exploration permitted throughout the contract period. Earlier, you need to relinquish certain area after certain phases of the exploration period. No micromanagement by the government, because we need not to run to the government for small approvals. No specific and quantified local current content obligations in this one. I just wanted to tell the current round of OLP round 5 is on, and which was open up to till 18th March. This has been extended until 16th April 2020. Those who are potential investors who are here, they can also look for the exploration acreages which are there on the under for round 5. These most of the blocks are near to the already discovered fields, which you can reap the benefits if you invest and if you bid for these exploration acreages. And bid evaluation criteria under basically under this OLP program, because work program is the main thing criteria. Under category 1 basin, it carries the 65% weightage, and category 2 and category 3 basins, it is 95%. Revenue share in category 1 is 30%, where whatever oil you discover, that from that 30% has to be paid to the government. Whereas in category 2 and category 3 basins, it's the 0%. And originator intensive is there, like when you look for the data and when you carve out the block, you can express your UOI, and therein you get a 5% extra marks, so that you can get that block. And policy to incentivize implementation of enhanced recovery methods, and for example, in the discovered small fields and other fields wherein the enhanced recovery methods are used to improve your recovery mechanism, incentives have been given. 50% waiver on cess for oil and 75% waiver on royalty for gas. IR incentives on reaching a set benchmark applicable across all contractor regimes. Earlier regime also, present regime, ongoing regime also, maybe in future also. And this includes even the nomination acreages which are holding by the national oil companies, like ONGC, Oil India, and other players who are there in the industry. Fiscal incentives available for 120 months from the date of commencement of incremental production. Policy effective for 10 years from the date of notification. What acreages are there under OLP round? OLP bid round was launched in Jan 2018. OLP bid round 2 and 3 were launched in 2019, and OLP bid round 4 also launched in August 2019. It's almost like, earlier we were doing the OLP bid round every 6 months. Now the frequency has increased. At present, we are doing 3 times in a year. So the exploration acreages, first you need to identify the block and then carve out. Expression of interest will be there, and then other people will also be bidding for those blocks. And mostly the weightage is basically the exploration work program which is there. So as I mentioned, exploration opportunities are available under OLP bid round 5 and in the category 2 and category 3 basins. These are the key information touch points. If you go to log into the DGH portal, you can see all the details and the data, how you can do, and several policy initiatives have been put on the portal. You can go through it, how you can reap the benefits out of those policy initiatives in the exploration program. It is there. Thank you very much. So I invite all the investors to invest in the exploration acreages which are there on that one. I think I spoke like a chief marketing manager of Government of India. I'm trying to sell my exploration acreage here. Thank you very much.